Welcome back to N's Notebook LM. Today we're talking about a man who just defies belief. A guy who runs marathons in the Arctic, climbs mountains in nothing but shorts, and basically seems to have a thermostat for his own soul. His name is Wim Hof. But the big question we're going to dig into is this. Are his abilities some 1 in a billion genetic fluke? Or is he just showing us a power that's sleeping inside all of us?
You know, this quote really sets the stage perfectly. This isn't just about being able to handle the cold. It's about tapping into an inner strength that maybe we've forgotten we even have. And that's exactly what the Wim Hof Method claims to be, a key to unlocking that potential and bringing it out into the world.
All right, so first things first, we gotta get into the legend. Who is this Iceman? Because before he was the subject of serious university studies, he was known for these incredible feats that honestly sounded more like circus acts than a new frontier of human potential. But it was those very acts that forced science to finally pay attention.
I mean, just look at this stuff. The absurdity of it is what built the legend. Climbing Kilimanjaro in shorts, a barefoot half marathon in the Arctic. These aren't just difficult challenges. They should be lethal. And standing covered in ice for almost 2 hours, that definitely established his reputation. But it also raised a really important question.
And this is it. This is the central question that drives this entire story. Is Wim Hof just a genetic outlier, a freak of nature, which is what scientists first called him? Or, and this is the big or, did he just stumble upon a universal human ability that our modern comfortable lives have made us forget? Well, that's exactly what he set out to prove.
But it's so important to understand that this mission wasn't born from a desire for fame. It was forged in absolute tragedy. Back in 1995, Wim's wife Alaya took her own life, leaving him as a single father to 4 kids. He felt completely powerless, and that profound grief sent him on a search, not for stunts, but for healing. The cold became his medicine, his way to mend a broken heart, and honestly, his path to survival.
And out of that whole journey, Wim boiled everything he learned down into 3 incredibly simple pillars. This isn't some complicated, esoteric secret. It's a direct, natural path to taking back control of our own bodies and our own minds. So the first pillar is the one he's most famous for, cold exposure. And his catchphrase for it is perfect because it's just so simple. He argues that the cold isn't our enemy. It's actually a powerful, forgotten teacher that can reawaken our body's own natural strength. So how does it even work? Well, think about it like this. Our entire circulatory system is lined with millions of tiny little muscles. But because we're always in temperature-controlled rooms and wearing clothes, those muscles have gotten weak. They've gotten lazy. Cold exposure is basically like taking them to the gym. It forces them to tense up and then relax. And get this, in as little as 10 days, this simple stressor can bring them back to full strength. Okay, the second pillar is really the engine of the method, a specific breathing technique. It's a pretty simple cycle of controlled, deep breathing followed by a breath hold. But the effects are profound. What you're doing is intentionally changing your body's biochemistry. You're flooding it with oxygen, lowering acidity, and it's like you're grabbing a lever that gives you direct influence over your own nervous system.
And the final pillar, mindset, is really the glue that holds it all together. It's that conscious commitment to push past the discomfort that your brain is screaming at you about. It's the belief that you are in the driver's seat of your own biology, not just a passenger along for the ride.
Now, for years, this all just sounded like mystical nonsense to the scientific community. So this next section is about that moment the maverick walked into the laboratory and turned all that skepticism into groundbreaking science. This is where he was finally vindicated.
You see, the established medical view is that you could not consciously influence your autonomic nervous system or your immune response. It was thought to be completely automatic, beyond our will. So when Wim claimed he could do it, they just labeled him a freak of nature. So he challenged them directly. He basically said, fine, test me.
And what happened next was just stunning. At Radboud University, scientists injected a group of people with an E. coli bacteria component, an endotoxin, that reliably produces nasty flu-like symptoms. They'd done this to over 16,000 subjects before, and every single one got sick. But then they tested 12 people Wim had trained for just 4 days, and almost nothing happened. They had hardly any symptoms. They had consciously suppressed their own inflammatory response. This was supposed to be impossible.
the numbers get even more incredible. Just to put this in perspective, if you're shivering on a cold day, your metabolic rate might go up 100%. In a controlled study, while immersed in ice for 80 minutes, Wim jacked his metabolic rate up by 300% without shivering at all. He was consciously turning on an internal furnace, generating enough heat to keep his core body temperature stable in conditions that would cause severe hypothermia in anyone else.
And the final piece of the puzzle came from brain scans at Wayne State University. They proved that he could consciously activate a key region deep in his brainstem, the part that acts as the control center for suppressing pain. He was literally using his will to block pain signals right at the source. The freak of nature had officially rewritten the textbooks.
But here's the most important part. This was never just about Wim. That Radboud study proved that this is an ability that anyone can learn. So let's explore what this power actually means in practical terms for your own life.
Because if you can actually influence inflammation in your nervous system, the potential applications are just vast. People are using this to fight autoimmune conditions like MS and arthritis, to seriously enhance athletic performance and recovery, to manage depression and anxiety, and even just to boost energy and focus. It's like a toolkit for optimizing your own well-being.
And this isn't just theory. It is changing lives. Take the story of Anna Chonaka. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and her doctors gave her a really grim prognosis. But instead of accepting a future in a wheelchair, she embraced the method. And the result? She summited Mount Kilimanjaro right alongside Wim.
Ultimately, this is the core message. We've been taught to see ourselves as passive victims of our biology and our environment. The Wim Hof Method is just this powerful reminder that we're not. We all have this profound, innate ability to influence our own internal state, our health, our mood, our strength.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. Our modern world is built entirely around comfort. But in shielding ourselves from every little stress, we may have inadvertently made ourselves weak. We've let these powerful internal systems just go dormant. So the real question to leave you with is, what incredible potential is just waiting to be reawakened inside of you? If this topic has captured your interest and you'd like to dive deeper, the book is called The Wim Hof Method by Wim Hof.